Inshallah, this will be a very illuminating, enlightening, inshallah, session. Just as a targheeb or just as an introduction. So what we've done is we have a two-part parenting session, interactive parenting session with Hazrat Bana. So the first part will be tonight, inshallah. And the second part will be on Monday after Dhuhr Salat. And inshallah there we will have a panel of perhaps esteemed scholars and esteemed individuals within the framework to give us an idea of how to do correct parenting. So today what we will, or Maulana inshallah will try to endeavor and try and go through, and like we said, it's going to be an interactive session, and that is that from birth to our child reaching the age of 13. This age is known as adolescence, from 11 to 13 approximately. So from birth to approximately 13, what are the points and what are the aspects that perhaps you would like to know, that you would like to Maulana to answer? And we would like to take questions from the floor. Likewise, inshallah, if not, then Maulana will just give us a few pointers, inshallah, and then perhaps we might conclude, inshallah. So I'll leave it to Maulana and sort of open the floor, inshallah. I'll let Maulana introduce the topic, inshallah. At the same time, there will be a lot of females that may be listening over on the internet at home. So we request them and urge them that if they have any questions, that please do send us those questions to the Masjid website, the Masjid WhatsApp number. So the Masjid WhatsApp number, I'm sure many of the females do have the Masjid WhatsApp number, and they're being reminded or they're bringing different news and information through the Masjid WhatsApp number. So if they have any question, we urge them and we request them to send the questions through that. So again, just to recap and to summarize, from birth to approximately age of 13, what are the things that we find challenging within our children in terms of growing up in society? What are the things that we perhaps are having difficulty with? And what is it that we want Maulana to discuss and speak about? So Maulana inshallah will take questions. At the same time, he will also give a very brief introduction, and thereafter he'll take your questions, inshallah, and go through the different questions, inshallah. Jazakallah.
Assalamu Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa la aqibatu lil muttaqeen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil mursaleen Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وعلى آله وأصحابه والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تخونوا الله والرسول وتخونوا أماناتكم وأنتم تعلمون إنما أموالكم وأولادكم فتنة. وعن عبد الله بن عمر رضي الله تعالى عنهما قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته والرجل راع على أهل بيته ومسؤول عن رعيته أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والتسليم. رواه البخاري ومسلم رحمه الله. Very important topic. First, let's gauge from the people that are present here, who are parents? Put your hands up. Alhamdulillah. So, majority of us sitting here actually are parents. Parenting is a challenge. And it's a great challenge. It's an act of making balance between love and fear. You make sure you strike the right balance at the right time. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave specific instructions for young minors and how to nurture them, how to do their tarbiyah, how to upbring them. Hazrat Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu says, I heard the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam say that every person is a guardian and he is responsible for his offspring. Hazrat Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As radiyallahu ta'ala says, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said कुलू मुरू औलादकुम बिस्सलाह व हुम अबनाउ सब'i सिनीन. That you give your instructions of prayer to your children at the age of 7. Now the question arises, why did Rasulullah ﷺ say so? There must be a reason. नबी पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की कोई बात हिकमत से खाली तो थी नहीं. आपने जो भी फरमाया उसके पीछे कोई भेद था. किसी उम्र का बयान करना इसका मकसद ये कि अल्लाह के नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम को डायरेक्ट अल्लाह की तरफ से बताया गया. इन हुवा इल्ला वह्यु युहा व मा यंतिकु अनिल हवा. अपने ख्वाहिश से तो बात करते नहीं थे. He never used to talk from his own desire, from his own will. It was only through the inspiration of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when he says here that instruct your children to pray namaz at the age of 7. And when they miss salah at the age of 10, you chastise them. You reprimand them. You take away their privileges. So they understand what mistake that they have made. So the age of 7 is a very important age. From childhood to 7, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, rahimahullah, he gave us a prescription of 3 phases of a child's life. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, he was given khutbah, and he says, La'ib ibnaka sab'an, wa'addibhu sab'an, wa sahibhu sab'an. 3 stages. First stage, he says, after your child is born, then you need to create the bond and relationship with your child. तो अपने बेटे के साथ खेल कूद का मुआमला करें. Enjoy the child's childhood with the child. हमारे यहाँ क्या होता है? दादागिरी. छोटा बच्चा उसके कान खींचो. समझे ना? अब छोटा बच्चा है, इतना छोटा है कि वैसे तो यहाँ तो कुछ माहौल ही कुछ अजीब है, लेकिन जो है बहुत सी जगहों पर बाकायदा मस्जिदों में नोटिस लगाते हैं कि एज चिल्ड्रन अंडर द एज ऑफ 7 शुड नॉट बी brought to the masjid. What's the reason? Why? Because the child doesn't understand until that age. उसको घर पे अपनी अम्मी के साथ नमाज पढ़नी चाहिए. कभी कभार उसको ले आए शौकिया, ताकि उसको शौक पैदा हुआ, अलग चीज है. लेकिन हमारे यहां एक तो ये कि लोगों को ये समझ कि मैं कुछ हूं, तो मैं अपने पोते के साथ, बेटे के साथ, नवासी के साथ, और नवासी भी होगी कभी, बच्ची को भी ले आएंगे मस्जिद में और साथ में सब पे खड़े कर देंगे. और कोई कहने वाला कहेगा तो आके दे करे, तू कौन आ गया बताने वाला? Who are you to tell me? I do what I want. It's not what I do what I want. Sharia is to follow the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We can't follow our whims and desires. Did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam not have children? Was he not the best of mankind? Was he not the best teacher? Innama bu'ithtu mu'allima. He says, I have been sent as a teacher. He was the teacher of mankind. Did he take his young minors with him? He was Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who was going to question him? So, we tend to think that sometimes when we bring children into the masjid at a very young age, we think that we are doing an act of piety. We need to get our understanding right. That child is in need of love, is in need of affection. दूसरी मुसीबत क्या है बोल साहब? बच्चा मस्ती करे, मोल साहब ने कह दिया, मोल साहब ने बोला हमरा, अरे मोल साहब इज अ मॉन्स्टर. मौलाना साहब को मॉन्स्टर बना दिया. लो, अच्छा कुछ शरारत करता है बच्चा, उसको पहले से डरा दो। यानी जिस शख्सियत से उसको कुरान और हदीस सीखना है उसी का डर पहले से डाल दो। लाओ को दौला, ये क्या फायदा होगा? Do we get that in schools? Do we say, oh, if you mess around, I'm going to tell you this teacher? No, because they know that when they go to school, they're going to find love. They're going to find affection. They want to go to school. They want to not come home maybe. But when it comes to the madrasa many a times, no, I don't want to go. Child cries. Why? Oh, I'm scared of Maulisa. I'm scared of Appa. So are we there to be scaremongers? Are we there to scare our children away from us? And are we doing something that we are technically saying that these children are not ours? You go and the wolf is outside waiting for the prey. And he's going to take our child away. Seriously, it's something for me and you to really ponder upon. क्या वाकई हम बच्चों के साथ मोहब्बत का मामला करते हैं कि नहीं? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam example is his grandchildren. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's age when he was prophet, his children had grown by then. He was at the age of 40 when he got prophethood. But his grandchildren, Hassan Hussein को देखो, आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम नमाज पढ़ रहे तो वो खेल रहे, उनके ऊपर कूद रहे हैं. आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम को आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम घोड़े की तरह उनको खिला रहे हैं. He's making them play. He's playing with them. Sometimes he used to do sajda so far away that if Hassan Hussein wanted, they could go under him. Subhanallah. Yeah? They could crawl inside him. Now this was to try and get that bond with that child. If that bond is going to be there, then the next stage will become easy. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz says, La'ib ibnaka sab'a. हमें बच्चों के साथ 7 साल की उम्र तक प्यार मोहब्बत करना है. We don't have instructions. 4 साल का बच्चा हो जाए उसको अभी से हुक्म करते हैं, चल मस्जिद में चल. अरे मस्जिद में आने की उम्र है उसकी, घसीट के ले आते हैं. बच्चा है भाई, वो क्या करेगा? What is the child going to do? He's going to run out. He's going to try and find some kind of enjoyment in his childhood, obviously. It's our fault of trying to program them in the wrong way. Once एक शेख का मुझे किस्सा याद आ गया. किसी ने कहा शेख के अपने बच्चे को लेके आता. Bring your child, I want to see your child. अब घर पे वो मुरीद साहब जो है फिक्र में हो गया. अरे हजरत के पास जाना है इब्राहिम भाई, चुपचाप भेजे, हाँ जो ले जा, हरकत तो नहीं कर रहा था, हरकत तो नहीं कर रहा था. गोश बोली साहब ने हरका मारा. अजीब फ्रेजेस हमारे हैं कि we just will go extreme, we'll scare under the chance. Don't you dare say anything, and make sure you don't do anything wrong. Behave when you sit in front of the sheikh. I don't want to be ashamed of me taking you. He's asked for you, so you better behave in front of him. जब शेख के पास ले गए ना, when he takes it to the sheikh, the sheikh sees the child. What's wrong with this? बड़े बच्चे को कुछ हो गया भाई, क्या बीमार है बच्चा? नहीं हसन बड़ा अच्छा, ठीक है, तंदुरुस्त है, he's okay, he's fine, he's healthy. ये क्या, ये बच्चा है? ये क्या बच्चा है? ये बच्चे की सिफत तो है नहीं इसके अंदर. तुमने तो उसको बच्चे की सिफत से वो कर दिया, क्या किया इसको? फिर उनको एहसास होगा, है बच्चा भाई बच्चा होता है. What do we expect from small children? If they come into the masjid at the young age, they're going to be doing things which they would be habitual to. So we need to train them. We need to program them. La'ib ibnaka sab'a. Alhamdulillah, those parents that have that bond with that child. When you have your children, obviously at the age of 1, the mother is going to be mainly acquainted with that child. Age of 2, mother is going to be mainly. When after that, when the child starts to understand, in fact, I would say young children, even at the age of 4 to 5, I didn't have experience before, but now I've got more experience because of my grandchildren. Yeah? अपने बच्चों के वक्त इस तरह तर्जुमा नहीं हुआ जितना अपने नवासा और नवासी के वक्त मुझे तर्जुमा हुआ. It's a different feeling altogether. Yeah. At that time, obviously, we were living together, we were living, or me and my brother, and so they were just, alhamdulillah, our children are both up living together, you know. कुछ एहसास नहीं हुआ था. अम्मी थी, सब थे, वो देखभाल कर रहे. But then when the grandchildren, is a total different thing. It's a total different ballgame. Because you actually want that child to be there with you. You see that when that child is free, immediately, it recognizes the father, subhanallah. अम्मी को तो वैसे ही पहचानता है बच्चा, लेकिन अब्बू को भी पहचानता है, subhanallah. And then that bond is created. The bond between the mother and the father. Play with the child. Give that love. But at the same time, we have to make sure that that child is not spoiled. So the love has to be proportionate. The love, you can't overlove your child because that is again, बच्चों को हद से ज्यादा कोई प्यार करेगा तो फिर उससे भी क्या होगा, बच्चा बिगड़ जाएगा. प्यार करो लेकिन हद में रहकर. हद से ज्यादा करोगे तो बच्चा तुम्हारे सर पर सवार हो जाएगा. So like I said, there has to be a balanced approach. And the balanced approach is when you see that the child has done something wrong, then alhamdulillah मेरी आदत, मेरे नवाज आज तक मेरा हाथ कभी नहीं उठाया. लेकिन जैसे ही कोई ऐसी कोई शरारत करे या कोई काम ऐसा करे, ऐसे आंखें निकालो थोड़ी, तो वो समझ जाएगा कि नाना नो, नाना नो, नहीं मुझे नाना है कहते ये नहीं करने का, वो समझ जाता है. तो इनको जो है ना प्यार मोहब्बत, और जब मुझे एहसास ये हो रहा, मैं आपको इसलिए मेरा अपना जाती तजुर्बा, मुझे ये मालूम ही नहीं था कि ये हम मुझे बात कर दिए, लेकिन मैं I'm telling you my personal experience because alhamdulillah I've been going through this, that the love and affection is so attached to our grandchildren, and my grandchild is so attached to me that if anybody else shouts at him, he doesn't really bother. But if I was to say any two words, like shout at him, "Oi, Muhammad," immediately he starts to cry. He goes, "Oh, Nana shouted at me." So he won't like it. He don't want to be shouted by me. So it's an attachment, the bonding which is there. And inshallah, gradually what will happen is that child will inshallah ta'ala have a bit of understanding. But the bonding will be there. Once the bonding is there, you go to the next. You can't overspoil. If we overspoil our child, then we are being unjust to them. So pehli nasihat, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, what does he say? La'ib ibn kasaba. Anybody got any questions on this? Ye jo marhala hai, from the age of after being born till the age of 7. Anybody got any questions on that? निशा, आपको तो सवाल का जवाब देना है, आपको सवाल करने का हक नहीं है. जी. Okay. Yeah, that again is a very good question. I personally, I would say that we should not. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, you give an instruction of salah at the age of 7. We can't expect the child to become, just 2-3 days ago, I got a WhatsApp message. And a child, she's only 3 or 4, and maybe she's member, one-off hota hai. But sometimes parents overdo things. And कि मुझे बच्चे को अभी से हाफिज बनाना है, तो उसके पीछे 3 साल से अलिफ बा शुरू करता है कि उसको हिफ्ज में शुरू कर देते हैं. And they want to try and make that child hafiz at a very young age. But general, please correct me if I'm wrong. और ज़करिया साहब अगर मैं गलत हूं तो मुझे तस्सीह करें. I've seen in my experience कि जिस बच्चे को बहुत कम उम्र में हाफिज बनाया जाता है, फिर वो उसको बाकायदा उसका दौर नहीं हुआ था, तो वो बहुत जल्दी भूल भी जाता है बच्चा. वो बच्चा कुरान पाक को बहुत जल्दी भूल जाता है, इसलिए कि उसके दिमाग के अंदर अभी वो उम्र पक्की ही नहीं हुई कि उसके कुरान पाक को जब्त कर सके. So you have to be on top of that child all the time. You have to make sure he keeps on repeat. Otherwise, it will not be able to. हम कहते हैं पुख्ता हाफिज, वो नहीं बन सकेगा. So that when you try to make that child Islamic, in a way of Islamize the child at an early age, that would not be recommended. We have to take it easy. I'm not trying to say that you don't teach them Islam, and we obviously, खाते वक्त Bismillah, ये बोलते हैं, दाएं हाथ से खिलाना, all these things are there. But when we fast track things and we try to teach our children things which they can't be taught at time, because there's no rush in life. You know, what's the need of making our child a hafiz at the age of 7? Alhamdulillah, it's a great honor. By all means, it's a great honor. But what need is there? You know, let that child progress on its own pace. You know, why overburden that child? And then, musibat, तुम्हारे इस मुल्क में तो ये है, मौलाना, मैं कहूँगा कि it's not a good practice. I feel that people don't send their children to school, and they take them away from school and they put them into full-time hifz provisions, and they deprive them of education. And I don't think that's justice to the child. You have to let the child on a normal routine progress. हमारे यहाँ जो मकतब का सिलसिला होता है, मकतब, we enroll a child in maktab at the age of 4 or 4.5. 4 or 4.5. Reception class. आप मुझे ये बताओ, when you have you been to kindergartens? If you take your child to a kindergarten, nursery, we call it, in England, तो वहां बच्चे क्या करते हैं भाई? खेलते हैं. They just play. All day they go, all they do is play. They'll play with dough, they'll play with water, they'll play with sun. There's no physical, there's no actual tense kind of learning there. No, because that child needs to just understand, observe, see things, learn as they see. Learn as they seek. Our children, if they are enrolled into maktab at a very early age, they're not ready for that. And we don't have, unfortunately, experience or provisions. We haven't got kindergarten madrasas that they can just come and play. Because unfortunately, we don't operate, unfortunately, in that way. We should be doing it, but we haven't got the provisions. Let's be honest. We haven't got the provisions. What we have is, from straight away as they come in, Alif Ba class. Alif Ba, Ibtidaiya class. But we don't have nothing before that. We should have it. So get that child used to. हमारे मदरसे में मैं क्या करता हूँ? जब बच्चा दाखिल होता है, तो पेरेंट्स को मैं कह देता हूँ कि बच्चे से एक्सपेक्ट मत करना. Some parents, बच्चे को याद नहीं हो रहा है. अरे अभी तो एक अलिफ बात आसा भी नहीं याद नहीं किया अभी. 2 महीने हो गए बोल सर. अरे hold on man, hold on. Take it easy. Parents say let the child get used to the environment. The first 6 months, बच्चा सिर्फ आकर बैठेगा ना मदरसे में, वही काफी है. इसका मदरसे में आकर बैठकर देखना माहौल का, वही काफी है. भाई सीख लेगा, क्या जल्दी है. हमने कोई उनको आइंस्टाइन बनाना है. अल्लाह ताला उसको इल्म देगा वो इंशाल्लाह वक्त पे. But we can't fast track. That is very important. Treat the child the way the child needs to be treated in his education. Illa mashallah, you will get individual children who are fine in the world. You get individual children of excellent mind, and their mind is of a professor mind, but a very young age, वो अलग चीज़ है. But generally speaking, we should not fast track this child's education. We should take it on its own pace. And I think 4.5 is a good age to enroll. 4.5 is a good age to enroll the child into the madrasa, get them used to it, and then slowly, gradually, inshallah, they can learn the, Ahsanul Qawaid or Nurani Qaida or whatever we teach in our maktabs, and then they can go on to the Juz Amma. When they go on to the Juz Amma, they will be about 5.5. And if that child, mashallah, has got a very good memory, maybe sabak पढ़ते वो खुद सूरत को खुद हिफ्ज कर लेगा. बहुत से बच्चों का तर्जुमा ऐसा होता है. सबक याद कर रहे थे, लेकिन सबक याद करते करते अल्लाह ताला ने उनको दिमाग ऐसा दिया है कि वो सूरत खुद अजबर मुंह पे याद कर लेते. वो माशाल्लाह बच्चे की सलाहियत को हम परख ले उस वक्त, ठीक है, लेकिन उसको फिर हम ओवरबर्डन न करें. अगर हमने ये, if we see some potential in a child, That we shouldn't overburden our child, because then that potential is going to be, misused, that it's going to be overburdened. Then that child will feel, well, why did I have to show them my potential? I might as well. And then children go do different psychology. And different psychology, what do? They don't learn on purpose. They want to show the parents and teachers, I can't learn. In reality, हकीकत क्या है? बच्चा याद कर सकता है. लेकिन याद जानबूझ के इसलिए नहीं करता है कि मेरे ऊपर प्रेशर ना आए. तो ये प्रोटेस्ट होता है. बच्चा अपनी तरफ से गोया प्रोटेस्ट कर रहा है कि मुझे बच्चा रहने दो, मैं अभी एडल्ट नहीं हूं, मेरी उम्र में मुझे एक्सेल करने दो. So that's a good question, Mawlana, that we should try and address the child's needs at that age. Yeah, fine. Fine. But do you agree with me or not? जी? मैं जो कह रहा हूं, समझ में आ रही ना बात? जी. जी. ये 4.5 साल तो ठीक है. ये वो 4.5 साल की उम्र में तो भेजना चाहिए. मैंने कहा ना, ये 4.5 साल की उम्र में जैसे हमने कहा, खैर वो आपकी राय है, मैं आपकी राय से नहीं. वो तो पेरेंट्स डालेंगे तो भेजेंगे तो डालेंगे ना, बस उनको भी रिजल्ट्स चाहिए. जी जी, अच्छा है. जी जी, नहीं वो तो इंशाल्लाह वो हम उनको भी कहेंगे, उनको भी कहते हैं, उनको भी जो. लेकिन बात असल यही है कि बच्चे की सलाहियत के मुताबिक हमें उनके साथ काम देना है. नहीं उनसे इंशाल्लाह वो जो है वो, मैंने आपने अर्ज कहा कि वो आप जो कह रहे हैं वो मैं समझता हूं, लेकिन मेरे ख्याल से ये इस मसलक पर बैठते हुए मुझे इसका तस्फिया करना जरूरी है कि भाई कोई भी हम जहां तक हमारे इल्म में है, कोई इसको बिजनेस के तौर पे नहीं चलाएगा. ये दीनी तालीम है भाई, समझे ना. और दीनी तालीम के लिए कोई इस तरीके से कोई ये कहे कि भाई मैं इसको बिजनेस के तौर पे चलाना है ना, नहीं, मैं आपको सिर्फ खुलासा कर रहा हूँ. आप कह रहे हैं कि भाई वो लोगों को कह रहे हैं कि बच्चों को भेजो मदरसा, बच्चे बिगड़ जाएंगे. ये जो सवाल है ना कि बच्चे बिगड़ जाएंगे, तो ये हक ये देखना है, आया मेरा बच्चा अगर मैंने मकतब में न भेजा, बिल आखिर इख्तियार तो किसका है? माँ बाप ही का है ना. जबर तो नहीं कर सकते ना उस्ताद. वो तो सिर्फ जहन साजे आप जो कह रहे हैं, वो लोगों का जहन इसलिए बना रहे हैं कि भाई बच्चा का जो पोटेंशियल है वो कहीं जाए ना हो जाए दूसरी चीजों में. हमारे यहाँ मानेंगे नहीं, यूके में बाज मरतबा ऐसे भी बच्चे हैं, ऐसे भी पेरेंट्स है कि अल्लाह माफ करे कि 8 साल 9 साल की उम्र तक मकतब में दाखिल नहीं करते. अब ये बच्चे जाए हो जाए. तो उनका जो कहना है इब्तिदा यानी जल्दी उम्र में इसलिए दाखिल ताकि बच्चा सिस्टम में आ जाए. इसलिए मैंने कहा कि 4.5 साल की उम्र वो मुनासिब उम्र है कि बच्चे को मकतब से वाकिफियत हो जाए, उसको वहां भेजना शुरू करो, फिर आगे इंशाल्लाह आहिस्ता आहिस्ता अल्लाह के हुक्म से बढ़ेगा इंशाल्लाह. ये बात
sensitive, obviously, to the situation at home. Sometimes what happens is both parents work. Now, in such a case, especially when there's obviously everybody's financial situation is different. Right? Everybody's lifestyle is different. But when there's both parents that are working, what psychological impact does this have on children, especially when you're sending them to babysitting, etc. From your experience, etc.
You see, in the UK, you do get those situations where both parents are working parents, and they actually send them to again provisions for child care. Yeah. Now, obviously I wouldn't be able to comment on every individual person's situation because they might need to be working. Sometimes there's no need for both of them to work, but sometimes it might be that they both need to get an income to make sure that they can, they can bring the income into the home. But that child, definitely, I would say, मैं तो बहुत सी मर्तबा तरगीब करता हूँ कि सैक्रिफाइस करके शोहर को काम पे जाना चाहिए और बीवी को बच्चों की देखभाल करनी चाहिए. That is my viewpoint. I would always give recommendation. I always encourage, and I say, if I my own daughters, my own nieces, my own cousins, alhamdulillah, they work in Islamic schools. They work as teachers, as nurseries. When I say when they've alhamdulillah, when they've given birth to a child, I've actually advised them, now you leave work. Because now your responsibility is your child. What is this that you give your child's responsibility to somebody else? It doesn't make sense to me. That person is going to take care of your child for 6-7 hours in a day. They're doing it as a job. They're not going to be able to give that love of an actual mother or a father. To be honest, yeah, for them it's going to be taking care of that child. बच्चे को देखभाल करना है. At the end of the day, it's going to be a provision which is there, and that parent will be paying towards the care of that child in that provision. So I would recommend very strongly that under extreme circumstances, if you have no choice, then fine, both parents should go out to work and leave the children in a child care provision. Otherwise, for Allah's sake, one of you at least should be with your parent, with your child. Give that attention to your child. Give that love to your child. And then Allah will give barakah, inshallah. Maybe your income will be less, but there will be barakah because the intention is right. The niyyah is to upbring your child. Agar Allah ne ni'mat di hai, ye amanat hai. This is a trust. And if we are doing khiyanat in our amanat, we will be asked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is amanat mein hum khiyanat se kaam nahi le sakte. So I would advise in this way, Mawlana. Yeah. Because then they will go into schools. Huh? So when that child is at home, this is what I recommend. Once your child goes to full-time schooling, then both parents can go to work. That's no problem because, for example, I have got my own brothers and sisters. They drop the children off to the school and they go to work and they finish at 3 o'clock. And by the time they finish, they come back and pick them up from the school. There's nothing wrong with that. You can do that. And because in my own family, I've got, these similar experiences. And I was seeing one of my cousin brother's wife was working in a place and he was working and they were going through some financial difficulties. So I let them work for a while and then I said no. I said, you have to leave this job. Because then I saw that the effect it's having on the child. That the mother is going to work early in the morning, so the children when they wake up, the father is there to attend them their breakfast and whatever. And then he sends them off to school. And when they come back from school, because the mother's gone to work early in the morning, she comes early in the afternoon back from work. And then she goes to sleep. So when the children come back from school, the mother is not attending them. She's very tired because she's had a 5-6 hour shift. And then the children, it was having an effect on the children's upbringing. So I advised, I said, look, maybe you need to leave this job or find another job which has, though these hours are not suitable for the upbringing of your child. So it's very important, until the age of the children that are with us, उसमें तो ख्याल इसी का रखा जाए कि बच्चों के साथ उनको रखे, अपने साथ रखे. बहुत सी मरतबा हमारे जो है वो शोहर के माँ बाप होते हैं या दादा दादी या नाना नानी के पास छोड़ के चले जाते हैं. Right? They are not babysitters. Let's make it clear. Yeah? Fine, वो तो प्यार मोहब्बत से वो रखेंगे. But at the end of the day, वो तो parents ही की जिम्मेदारी है. They are doing a favor. वो तो हम पर एहसान कर रहे हैं कि भाई बच्चों को छोड़ के तुम जाओ, अल्लाह ताला तुम्हारा भला करे, तुम्हारी अच्छी नौकरी हो जाए, तुम्हारा जॉब, हम तुम्हारे बच्चों की देखभाल. At the end of the day, वो तो करेंगे इसलिए कि वो उनका खून है भाई. लेकिन जिम्मेदारी के हिसाब से है. जिम्मेदारी के हिसाब से किसकी जिम्मेदारी है? माँ बाप की. तो माँ बाप जिस उम्र तक बच्चा घर पे होता है, 4, 5, whatever age. Until that age, one of the parents has to be home to take care of that child. Fir uske baad when they grow up and go to school, then it's fine.
It's cold, it gets extremely cold. So in terms of the kids socializing outside, being outside, it's really problematic. So what should be the balance? When they start from 8 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and then if they go to madrasa, they come back 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, you don't have any time. From 7 o'clock maybe to 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, what should be in your estimate and in your expertise?
So we're going on to the second phase, Sheikh, now. The first phase is going to be when that child is from the age of 4.5 until the age of 7. That's the first phase we're going through. So that phase, obviously, the child, they'll be very tired by the time it's night time anyway. So it'll be bedtime for them. Yeah. So, but when it's the child from the age of 7, 7 साल से लेकर 14 साल की उम्र में क्या करना है? वअद्दिबहु सबआ। उमर इब्न अब्दुल अज़ीज़ ने फरमाया कि इन 7 सालों में अब बच्चों को आदाब सिखाओ. So this is the phase where we need to educate them, teach them the etiquettes. The etiquettes of living, the etiquettes of eating, the etiquettes of social. So ये मदरसे की तालीम. तो तालीम क्या 7 साल से लेकर 14, is a core age group. That Maulana would fit in here. Now when the child has gone to school, comes back from school, then gets ready for maktab, goes to maktab, comes back home. Now, before it goes to sleep, because now it's maybe 8, maybe 9, maybe 10 years of age, it's got an hour or so. What should we try and do? Look, we're living in a day and age where if we don't, when the kids go to school, like other kids will be asking, what did you do yesterday? Did you play this game? Did you do this? If we be too strict with our children, I'm not saying this is a hukam or injunction, but I'm saying my experience. दारुलों में बहुत से बच्चे आते हैं. दारुलों में बच्चा जो है वो 12 साल के बाद आता है. और बहुत सी मर्तबा बच्चा जब आता है तो दारुलों में आने के बाद वो ब्रेक टाइम में, क्लास टाइम में बहुत शरारत करता है. अब घर पे बच्चा बिल्कुल यानी रोबोट. तो मैं फिर बहुत से तजुर्बे हुए, मैंने बच्चों को साइड पे इंडिविजुअल 1-to-1 किया. Just tell me, what do you do at home? Exactly. So, nothing. You are? Nothing. I'm not allowed. As soon as I go home, I have to sit in one corner, and that's it. And then my dad will say, oh, get your Quran out, get your kitab out. Even at home, it's a regime. A child is a child. Come on, man. Let him enjoy for a bit. But that child doesn't get the time to express his childhood. So what does he do? जब मदरसे में आते हैं उसको मौका मिलता है अपने वो एक्सप्रेस करने का. So then he expresses the misbehavior. बाबा क्या हो ही नहीं सकता. मेरा बच्चा फरिश्ता है मौलवी साहब. ये आवाज क्या उठाए? पेशाब करवा दूं मैं उसको. ला हौला वला कुव्वता. ऐसा मेरा बच्चा इतना अच्छा है. कैसे वो शरारत कर वो समझ हो ही नहीं सकता मौलवी साहब. इसीलिए तो हो रहा है. तुम जो कह रहे हो कि हो ही नहीं सकता इसीलिए तो हो रहा है. फिर मुझे माँ बाप को अलग कहना पड़ा. वाकई मुझे दर्द दिल से मुझे कहना पड़ा कि माफ करना, मैं ये बात कहूंगा आपको बुरी लगेगी, लेकिन मैं समझता हूं मेरे लिए आपको कहना जरूरी है. तुम अपने बच्चों पर बहुत सख्त हो. अपना हाथ हल्का करो. बच्चा है भाई. And I say, that's why I say, Maulana, I might be saying something which some muftis might say, ये मौलवी ने जो है ना वो गलत बात की. But I'm just saying experience, Maulana. I'm just saying that, I'm not saying this is prescribed. All I'm saying, a child when he goes to school is going to be listening to his friends. The friends are going to say, this is the game I played, this is, भाई मैं अपना खुद का तजुर्बा करना, मैंने अपने बच्चों को जब से वो होश संभाला ना, जो भी बाहर चीज ऐसी है जो और बच्चों को मुहैया है, मैंने अपने बच्चों को मुहैया कर दी. PS3, PS4, जो भी चीज है, कल जाकर मेरा बच्चा मुझे ये शिकायत न करे कि अब्बू ने मुझे ये चीज नहीं, हाँ कंट्रोल रखो उसका, सुपरवाइज करो उसको, देखो कि वो बच्चा किसके साथ क्या खेल रहा है, अपने निगरानी में उसको, लेकिन उसको वो उसकी जो खुशी है कि मुझे गेम खेलना है तो उसको खेलने दो। भाई कोई कहेगा कि मौला साहब ये तो तुमने हराम काम कह दिया, बच्चे को गेम खेलना हराम है, चल वो उसके सामने बैठकर खेलना हराम है, भाई पैदा गुनाह है, चलो हम तौबा कर ले। लेकिन बच्चा अगर मैं तजुर्बे बताऊं, इफ वी डोंट टेक आवर चिल्ड्रन आउट फॉर आउटिंग्स, अब कोई इतना सख्त हो जाए माना कि इफ यू गो टू when you go to we have like pleasure parks, what do you call them here? Amusement parks here. So amusement parks, when you take them there, there's going to be full blast music, yeah? You can't avoid it, right? Who goes there to listen to music? You tell me. Yeah, there's full blast music in the amusement park, but we take our child there and we make them enjoy the rides, yeah, because we want that child to have a bonding with us and make that child feel that at least I'm enjoying myself what my friends are enjoying. If we don't take them to these kind of places, they're going to feel, well, what kind of a lifestyle do I have? Is Islam all about being sad? And is Islam all about not enjoying yourself? It's not that. We have to have measures. Who goes to the supermarket? Put your hands up. Every single person goes to the supermarket. Supermarket में क्या म्यूजिक नहीं होता है? हम म्यूजिक सुनने के लिए जाते हैं वहां पे, ये खरीदने के जरूरत की चीज को लेकर हम वहां से निकल जाते हैं। तो ये भी हम एक जरूरत समझ कर मैं कहता हूं, बच्चों की जरूरत है उनके दिल को बहलाना, बच्चों की जरूरत है उनके दिल को बहलाना, उनके दिल को बहलाओ, तुम्हारे साथ मोहब्बत और प्यार करेंगे, फिर within the limits, within the measures, I tell you, I know of my senior ulama in the UK who actually also do the same practice. They take their children to amusement parks. And this is what I've deduced. Why do they do that? Exactly this is why. Because they don't want their children to feel that they've been deprived. Yeah? But at the same time, there are certain measures that we need to take to make sure that they don't misuse that. They don't misinterpret that. So we do it within the limits of Islam. Yeah, well, it's a big question, Wala. Read it out, tell me the conclusion. अब तो मेरी आंखें जो है ना वो ब्लर कर रही है. It's 1:45 माना ना. मेरे इंग्लैंड में तो कितने बजे पता है? 7 बजने आए सुबह के. ये कोई इंसान है ये फरिश्ता है? जिन्नात. आप तो इंसान की शक्ल में जिन्नात है. Yeah, inshallah. No problem. नहीं आप बैठना चाहते हो ना इंशाल्लाह, अभी more longer, just a few more minutes. इंशाल्लाह.
Assalamu Alaikum. Sorry for this long message. Please
do not what? No, do not. No, but why don't you just read it and tell me the conclusion, Mona?
So the conclusion, Mona, is that there's a mother that's concerned, and the mother that's concerned is that she's raising her girls. Now, all of us, as a mother raising girls in the society, we know that the different practices in terms of dress, in terms of features, in terms of nail polish, hair, etc. So the mother wants to instill haya within the girls. At the same time, there's always a discussion that, other girls come to the masjid, they're within Muslim families, they're wearing perhaps partial, and at the same time they're adopting other things that are not the best of practices. How, as a mother, does she reconcile between the two? Tell the girls, this is not something that we should do. This is something that we should do. In essence, how does she create haya within?
Yeah. What we don't want to do is brand somebody as is un-Islamic. Number one. Just be careful. We don't want to say ye dindar nahi. Hamara haq nahi bana. We can't be judgmental. We cannot be judgmental. यानी हम ये किसी के ऊपर फैसला नहीं कर सकते कि चूंकि उसने पूरा हिजाब नहीं पहना तो मतलब ये कि ये नऊजुबिल्लाह आवारा है, हम ये नहीं कह सकते. इसलिए कि दिलों का मालिक तो कौन है भाई? अल्लाह बेहतर जानता है. समझे? अल्लाह ताला जब शराब खोर को भी आखिरी मरहले पर तौबा की तौफीक देकर जन्नतुल फिरदौस में आला मकाम दे सकता है, तो मैं और आप जजमेंट करने के वाले कौन है? कोई नहीं. So what the way we need to balance this one, and that's a regular challenge, because we have different parents, have different standards of Islamic practices, and Muslim community has different standards of Islamic. Muslim communities as Muslim countries have different standards of practicing Islam and the customs and whatnot on the other. And I would say the way I taught, alhamdulillah, my daughter was, that keep on giving the importance within the home. And try and say this is a starting point. If others are doing this, then they are, alhamdulillah, they are also on the starting point. Eventually, inshallah, they will get there. Eventually, we will not say that they are immodest, because that is going to be a wrong statement. What we'll say, mashallah, this is the beginning of, adopting the hijab. Ultimate pinnacle is going to be when you wear the full niqab and full hijab. That way, the child will not feel as though that my friend of mine, मेरी सहेली जो है, मुझसे कम दीनदार नहीं. भाई उनको तो उनके साथ मिलना गुलना है, उठना बैठना है, समझना. And I've seen, alhamdulillah, sometimes ऐसे बच्चियों के साथ फिर उनको भी तौफीक मिल जाती है. I've seen ladies with niqab walking with ladies with no hijab, and it's a scene and a half. And you think, hold on, this is a lady with a niqab on, full mashallah, and she's walking and going to shopping with a lady with not even a hijab on. There's no match. और we can't say, तुम कल उस औरत के साथ मत घूमना वाला, तू बेहिजाब हो जाएगी. नहीं, ला हौल वला कुव्वत. ये हमारा हक नहीं बनता. हमारा हक ये नहीं है कि हम उस औरत को ये कहें. भाई उसको अगर इसने अल्लाह ताला ने जब उसको तौफीक दी, वो भी करेगी इंशाल्लाह. Yeah? But we can't have a measure where we say this is more religious or this is more piety and that is less piety. I would say we need to say that this is the starting point and we build on that. I hope that makes sense. Yeah? And these are challenges, and हम ऐसे माहौल में रह रहे हैं ना कि it's so difficult, Mawlana, if we come out with views which are according to the interpretations, extreme views, then we'll be labeled as extremists. So we're living in the 21st century with many challenges. So many challenges are out there for us. It's not an easy game. It's not an easy thing to do. In my country they have a certain kind of schemes with the channel program or this to try and make sure that what is the mindset of this Indian, how are they upbringing their children. If they're telling a young girl at the age of 4 to wear the hijab in school, that means that they have got some kind of extremist views. Look, it's so difficult. So difficult. Islamic schools now, they have to think of different measures, they have to think of different policies of uniform. They have to make it optional, Musab. It's not easy, Musab. It's very difficult. Yeah? But you give that child the importance of that aspect of themselves in the same way we give our boys the importance of adorning themselves with the sunnat libas. Sab libas pehen. लेकिन अगर ये पहनेंगे तो ये आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम का लिबास कहलाएगा, ये सुन्नत लिबास कहलाएगा, और उसके पहनने में इंशाल्लाह तुम्हें सवाब ज्यादा मिलेगा. Not to say that the Turkish attire, somebody said that the Turkish attire they wear, they might call that this is sunnah as well. We will say they can call it a sunnah, but we will say this type of attire is aqrab ila sunnah. We think it is more closer to sunnah. We will not say that is an un-Islamic dress. Hijab mein mala kitni qisme. I mean, today's day and age, ladies are wearing abayas as style. It's become style, Mawlana. English women, I've seen them going into other Muslim Islamic shops, buying abayas for outings. Because they're wearing it because it looks nice. They're wearing the abaya because it looks nice. Yeah? So they're wearing that now. You've got so many companies out there selling all types of jubbas, all types of abayas. Women want to wear designer outfits and whatnot and the other, and some are so expensive. Yeah? What we're saying, if they wear it with the right intention, then they will be rewarded. But if they're wearing it for the sake of showing others, then unfortunately they're bringing azab upon themselves, and they will be bringing zahma, inconvenience, and they will be bringing nahusat into the homes, because the intention is not right. जब आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने औरत को खुशबू लगाने से बाहर जाते हुए मना किया, तो अपने आप को ऐसे बनाव सिंगार बनाकर कपड़े पहने औरों की, लोगों की निगाहों में अच्छी लगने के लिए कैसे इसकी गुंजाइश दे सकते हैं? Yeah. So it's important for us to realize that the sister will have challenges. It's going to be a struggle, it's going to be a challenge, but inshallah, do not dishearten yourself. Your child all your girls might not be different. Your girls might be different. One girl might be more, obedient than maybe the other one. So one might listen to you as soon as you tell her once, and the other will say, no, I'll do when I want to, what I do it. So you have to understand, every child is different. What I will finish on, that we parents, we need to understand, we are parents as educators. Parents as educators. We are actually educating our child every step that they take in their life. इसीलिए जो घरों में हम करते हैं ना, बच्चा फौरन सीख लेता है. बुरी आदत, घर में गाली बोलेंगे माँ बाप, माँ बहने की गाली, बच्चा फौरन सीख लेगा. और फिर बच्चा गाली बोलेगा ना, मैं गाली बोलता है, अब्बू तुम भी तो बोलते हो, तुम ही से तो मैंने सीखी ये गाली. बीवी को माँ बहने की गाली, उसकी माँ को माँ बहनों को गाली देता है, और फिर बच्चा जब गाली बोलता है तो हाथ उठाता है, बैठे बैठे पैर लंबा कर सिगरेट पीता है, और फिर वही बच्चा फिर उसके अब्बू के बॉक्स से सिगरेट निकालकर पिएगा, बदमाश कहेगा, तुम भी तो पीते हो. अब क्या, जैसे हम अपने बच्चों को उनके सामने नजर आएंगे, वैसा ही वो बच्चा रिएक्ट करेगा. That's common sense. That's what's going to happen. So first and foremost, we need to understand our role. We are actually educating our child every moment of our child's life in our home. We expect them to become waliullah, and we put them in front of movies. Yeah? And we expect them to be wali. Muli साहब के पास जाकर उसको अल्लाह का वली बना दो. अरे देखो कैसे हो सकता है? घर का माहौल पहले दुरुस्त करो ना. मदरसे में तो 2 घंटे 3 घंटे ज्यादा से ज्यादा, और कहां पे होता है बच्चा? घर पे होता है. घर का माहौल दुरुस्त नहीं होगा तो मदरसे में क्या करेगा? हम मौलवियों को कैसे ब्लेम कर सकते हैं? मौलवियों को ब्लेम करने का ये नहीं, ब्लेमिंग गेम. Let's face reality. हकीकत को हम सूंघे, हकीकत को हम समझे. हकीकत ये है कि बच्चे को घर पे जैसा माहौल मिलेगा, वैसे ही माहौल वो बच्चा हाँ, इसकी बात जरूर है कि बच्चा जब मदरसा आएगा, उस्ताद साहब उसको बताएंगे, आपा बताएगी कि बेटा तुम्हें ऐसी जिंदगी गुजारे, वो बच्चा घर पे जाके बताएगा. लेकिन जब वो देखेगा कि माय पेरेंट्स आर नॉट रिस्पॉन्सिव, पेरेंट्स तो कहेंगे मदरसे जाओ, लेकिन मदरसे में जाकर जो तालीम बच्चा सीख रहा है, उस बच्चे को उस तालीम पर अमल करने का कोई मैदान नहीं मिल रहा है, तो बच्चे को हमने क्या अहमियत दी कि मदरसे की तालीम की कोई अहमियत नहीं. स्कूल गया, स्कूल से होमवर्क किया, क्या किया, क्या आज सीख के आए हो, ये सब पूछेंगे हम. और वहां पे अगर कोई हमें कल टीचर को मिलने के लिए आ रहा है, हमें तुम्हारी प्रोग्रेस अच्छा नहीं है, वहां पे तो बहुत ज्यादा फिक्र हो जाती है. लेकिन दीनी तालीम के बारे में हम उसको पशे पुष्ट डाल देते हैं, और फिर हमें ये उम्मीद होती है कि मेरा बच्चा अल्लाह का वली बन जाएगा, वो दुआ करेगा तो आसमान से मन्नो सल्वा उतर जाएंगे हमारे लिए. ऐसा नहीं होने वाला भाई, समझना. हमको भी कुर्बानियां देनी पड़ेगी, हमको भी अपनी आदत सुधारनी पड़ेगी, हमको भी अपनी बुराइयां दूर करनी पड़ेगी. फिर देखो इंशाल्लाह घर का माहौल कैसे बनता है. नेक्स्ट स्टेज इंशाल्लाह, सो वी डिस्कस द फर्स्ट स्टेज, द एज ऑफ आफ्टर बीइंग बर्थ until the age of 7. उमर अब्दुल अजीज ने क्या फरमाया, ये उम्र किसकी है? ये बच्चे के साथ बॉन्डिंग की है, उसके साथ मोहब्बत, मुलाअबत, खेलकूद को कहते हैं. और फिर दूसरे 7 साल क्या है? आदाब सीखने के फेज है. दिस इज द टाइम ऑफ एजुकेशन. Last 7 years are the most important years, but unfortunately we are most neglectful. आगे क्या फरमाया उमर अब्दुल अजीज ने? वसाहिबहु सबआ. From the age of 14 until the age of 21. This is the age when you need to become your child's companion. उसका साथी बनना है, यानी उसके साथ उठक बैठ। 14 साल के बाद तू जाने हूं जा, तू तेरे रास्ते जा, मैं मेरे रास्ते जाऊंगा, कोई जानना नहीं जाओगे, बच्चा बड़ा हो गया, सुनता ही नहीं, बोल साहब क्या करें। दिस इज द क्रूशियल एज, and this is the age when we're going to make our child, we're going to break our child. And this very important phase between the age of 14 to 21, that's why I requested Maulana Huzaifa Sahab that we might need to get some professionals in. And on Monday afternoon, inshallah, very important session. And I want mothers and sisters to come as well, and fathers and my young friends to come as well. Then this, inshallah, we're going to get experts to try and give us advice of how we should try and take this role up as parenting role. It's not everybody's ball game. It's not everybody's piece of cake. It's not that हमने अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह ताला ने बच्चे दे दिए बस हो गया. नहीं, अब उसके बच्चे जब दिए हैं तो तरबियत भी करनी है. सिर्फ बच्चों को पैदा करके उनको छोड़ नहीं देना है. अल्लाह ताला ने हमें बच्चों इसलिए नहीं दिए कि पैदा करने के बाद हम बस उनको हमने इतने बच्चों का बाप हो. अरे हो गया तू, ये कोई तुमने हक अदा कर दिया. बेशक आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की हदीस है कि मेरी उम्मती ज्यादा होंगे और आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम फख्र करेंगे, लेकिन क्या ऐसी उम्मत पर फख्र करेंगे जो दीन से दूर हो? बल्कि इतने अल्लाह माफ फरमाए ऐसे भी लोग हैं बच्चे पैदा करने के बाद नऊजुबिल्लाह ईमान खो बैठते हैं. अल्लाह माफ फरमाए. बच्चों को सही तालीम तरबियत दी नहीं, दीन इस्लाम से बेचारे दूर चले गए. अल्लाह हिफाजत करे. सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फेज which is this age of 14 to 21, and inshallah we'll be discussing that. Maybe I will take it from there.
For them to inculcate the adab aspect of it, maybe perhaps talim within the home. This aspect is something that will be very beneficial, where like Maulana was saying, from 17 to 14, the aspect of adab within their lives. How does adab come in? One of the things that just perhaps came in my mind, I thought maybe just to add in, and that is that on a daily basis to do talim of a book of fadail. When we're doing the talim of a book of fadail, obviously, like the sister was speaking about modesty, they will listen to incidents of the sahabiyat. When we speak about different aspects of talking, of respect for elders, etc., these elements of the day-to-day life will then inshallah come.
Just on that point, so important. How we heard of bedtime stories. Yeah? Why do they do that? So exactly. बच्चे को bedtime story क्यों सुनाते हैं? Because they know that child likes to listen to the story. सोने से पहले they take a book out and they read the book, and then that's going to have that effect on the child's mind. हज़रत मौलाना ने जो फरमाया ना, बहुत अहम है. घर में कम से कम 5, 7, 10 मिनट हम निकाले, बच्चों को तरबियत के लिए तालीम करें. और तालीम होगी तो they'll get the importance of that तालीम, कि ये एक चीज है जो हमारे घर में होनी चाहिए. अल्लाह ताला हमें इसकी तौफीक नसीब फरमाए. आमीन या रब्बल आलमीन. व मा अलैना इल्लल बलाग. व सल्लल्लाहु अला नबील करीम. सुब्हानल्लाह व बिहम्दिही. सुब्हानकल्लाह व बिहम्दिका. नशहदु अन ला इलाहा इल्ला अंता नस्तगफिरुका व नतूबु इलैक. व सल्लल्लाहु अला नबील.